Hi all and welcome to the last in this series of On The Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. This time we're over to MLMotorsport. Let's get stuck in. So here we are at MLMotorsport. We have a tuning weekend. Have to excuse the rain. And today it's twin carb day. So this nice little Cooper, 10-inch wheels, 998 under the bonnet, with twin carbs. So let's dig in and see what we can find. Okay, so we have got an electronic ignition kit. Someone's retrofitted a ballast resistor and a ballast coil, and amazingly it's all correct. So it's got the right resistance coil, it's got the right ballast resistor on it, and it's even got a non-variable dwell electronic ignition kit. So she's running at 65 degrees, which is exactly what you want on a ballast system. So hats off to the guy. The only thing I've done here is I've changed the spark plugs because he was running 7s in it, and this is a 998. So I've put a set of 6s in it and obviously gapped them. So let's move on to the timing and then on to the carburation. Okay, so we got this one dialed in. It was actually relatively straightforward. The problems is the pickups weren't in sync. So when you was opening the throttle, only the left-hand carb was opening before the right hand. So the other problem we had, it was the same with the choke. That was loose, so we tightened that up. And when you open the choke, left-hand carburetor wasn't putting the choke on at the same time as the right. So we sorted that out. And then looking at the needles, we had FX needles. The fueling was just a tad lean, so I changed it to some GT needles, and they were right straight out of the packet. So yeah, this one runs really well. So the customer's not available to test drive this one, but Andy's been and test drive it. Okay, so we've got next car. Let's have a look at this. So much later this time, so none of the original S. This is more of a up-to-date modern Mini. It's got some interesting custom work on the front. So headlight covers and recessed headlights. And then under the bonnet, we've got our 1275 engine. A few modifications, as you can see. It's got an SW5 cam, 65D Dizzy, and we've got the ubiquitous HIF 44 carburation. So it seems to run okay. So it's in here for a tune-up. So let's dig in. Okay, so one of the things I found, it's got a brand new coil on it, but this is a 1.50 or 1.4 ohm coil. This is supposed to be running 0.8 ohm coil on the 65D. So we're only running half the coil power. So I'm going to change that, even though it's brand new, for one of the correct rating. And then obviously explain that to the customer. So let's get that changed and then move on. Okay, so the next thing we found, got the engine running. Just checked the ignition timing, and as you can see, it wasn't running 40 degrees. It was actually running 25 degrees static. But I've turned it back to 6 degrees, and then when you rev the engine, I've still got 40 at the crankshaft. So what we're going to have to do there is we're going to have to change the Dizzy, the mechanical part of the Dizzy, for one that's got a much faster advance but much less advance. So we'll get that done now. So got the distributor out, and we can see the problem. If you look in there, you'll see there's the number 18, and that tells us that is designed to give basically 36 degrees of crankshaft advance. I'm actually measuring 34, so it's giving slightly shorter than what it's made up to be, but that's quite common with worn springs. So what we're going to do is change this unit for a different one, which is here. And you can see that one's actually marked 11.5. Normally, it doesn't matter what it's stamped, that's just how it was made. But normally I shorten the curves down. So this is one of my recurve ones. As you can see, it's got much lighter spring primary, and obviously a different secondary spring. So this will liven the car up a lot, and it'll also prevent over advance. So we'll get this in and get the engine running. When you fit the modules back on these, it's important to make sure you use some heatsink compound. So something that some people tend to forget, but it can lead to the module overheating and the car stopping when it gets hot. Okay, so we've got this one distributor all back in, so everything's fine, running fine. Now we move to the carburetor, and I've just got it on the meter, and we're at 0.76 lambda at 2,000 revs, so we're very, very rich. And then at 4,000 revs, we're somewhere near right. So what we're going to do now is have a look and see what disaster of a needle we got in there and try and sort this out. So we got this one dialed in. What we had to do in the end, it had a red spring, so this has got a modified head, so I've changed it to a yellow spring. Had a BDR needle in it, which is not a bad choice, but somebody hadn't fitted it correctly, so we were going very rich just as soon as you open throttle. So at 2,000 RPM, we had 0.7677 on the lambda reading, so we've managed to fix that now. So changed the needle from a BDR to a BBA, and then modified that needle as well to get the fueling where it needs to be. So park throttle's nice, and there should be plenty of fuel now at the top end. So this one is ready for a test drive. Next car, got this nice little late 1000, and it's a few modifications in it, make it look a little bit older. Lovely car. So what we got? Well, it's a no servo car, and we've got electronic ignition fitted in a 59D. So let's get stuck in and see what the issues are. The reason why it's here, apparently, it's got a stage 1 kit and it doesn't drive very well. So I spoke to Andy and he says, yeah, he wasn't very impressed with it. So let's see if we can find the missing power. Okay, so getting into this one, we can see plugs have been in there a while, so we're going to change those. It's got a set of 5s in it, so we'll put another set of 5s in. And obviously gap them correctly. These ones weren't gapped, so they were straight out of a packet and popped straight in. The only thing I can see that we got wrong here is we've got a variable dwell dizzy, but we've got a 3 ohm coil, so we'll need to look at replacing that. So we've got this one running again. So what we've done is we've gone through and put new leads on it, because there was almost 14k of resistance between the coil and the spark plug, so obviously we need to drop that. We're now down to about 3 or 4k, so yeah, much more sensible. The other thing is, as I already mentioned, it had a 3 ohm coil, so we now drop that to 1.5 ohm, and she starts a lot better, and she revs better already. So now what we need to do is to move on to the fueling. Okay, so we just checked the fueling, and I'm glad I spotted this one, because this is something that people can learn from. Now, when you have a stage 1 kit in a 998 and you've got a AAA needle, as you can see there, this one was bore wash rich from 2,000 up to 3,000 RPM. Okay, and that's even with the idle setting correct for MOT. So, you know, usually a AAA needle is way too rich, and in this case it's actually damaging the engine. So it's really important that when you get your stage 1 kit fitted, you make sure that your engine's running sensibly, and the way to do that is to do what this owner's done, brought it along for a tune. So we've got to take this needle out and we've got to lean this up. Okay, so we got this one dialed in. So obviously we were very, very rich on the fuel in there with the AAA needle. So in the end, I changed it for an AAE needle, and it was absolutely spot on straight out the packet. So sometimes you don't have to modify them. So yeah, anyway, this one's ready for a test drive. Next car, it's an Italian job, one I've seen before. So this one's in just for a checkup. Apparently we might be a little bit high on the emissions, but that's to be expected. This one's actually a genuine MLMotorsport engine that's done about 12,000 some odd miles since it was put in, and it's been all over the place, this one. So it's just come back for a you know, routine service or routine checkup. So let's dig in, see what we can find. Okay, so obviously I've already done this one before. So the customer was saying that the carburettor was running rich, which it was. So for some reason the carburettor was running at 0.82. So I've reset that and then obviously checked the needle, and she's still spot on in terms of the calibration. So not quite sure what's happened there, whether the base idle setting screw has moved when it's been on long trips and things like that. I don't know, but the point is just resetting the mixture by about half a turn has reset everything to be exactly as it was when I set it previously. So just one of the follies of mechanical items. You need to make sure you stay on top of your checks and settings. So this owner's got the right idea. He brings it in to make sure it's running right. So we've corrected that, and it's ready to go. The only other thing I did was I put a new set of spark plugs in. Right. So next car, this nice little buzz bomb in bright orange, and also has a 1293 Bill Richards engine in it. So we got to. This one's been in storage for a long time, so we're just making sure it's tip top and doing what it's supposed to do. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it, other than it's got a few exhaust leaks, and we're just going to give it a once over and make sure the fueling's right. Okay, so the first thing we notice about this one is well angle is a bit small, and that's because we've got to adjust the points gap. So as we can see there, the gap is a little bit big. So we're going to reduce that to increase the coil charge time, and that should hopefully make the engine run a bit crisper. So taking this lot apart, we find that we've got a standard red spring and we've got a BDL needle. So unfortunately, whoever put this together at some point, it's all got the wrong, you know, it's not got the right carbon calibration on it. So the other thing I've noticed as well is the advance curve length is much too long. So we're going to have to be careful with this, because if this is a Bill Richards type engine, then it's going to it's potentially got quite a high compression. So I've told the owner to be careful, because I haven't got an advance curve with me today that can sort this one out, and obviously I don't want him to melt a piston or do any damage to it. But clearly we're going to have to put some more fuel in it, because this one was running very rich on idle, and you know, ball washing rich. So we've leaned that off, and now we've got to put some fuel in so at least it drives properly. So we'll get that sorted, but I'm going to have to change to a yellow spring, and we'll start with a BDR needle and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got this one dialed in. It's not perfect because we got a timing curve that's a bit long, but if I retard this one, it's not going to drive well. So I need to leave it in a condition where the owner's going to drive it, but he needs, you know, I don't want him to take it too much load at high rev. So I've explained to him, just take it up to 4500 and change gear until we get the advance curve sorted out. But we've got a yellow spring now, BDR needle. Got some considerable modifications on the needle. So this one picks up a lot nicer. Now we're going to send the owner out here and see what he thinks. Next car. So we've got a Cooper lookalike. Yeah. Nice little 10-inch wheels on a V-plate. Lovely little car. And under the bonnet beats the heart of an MLMotorsport fast road engine. So this is a fresh engine. So it's got a brand new ACDodd rebuilt carburettor. This one's got a 123 ignition. So everything's running right on this one. So I just need to dial it in. So all we need to do is check things like spark plug gap, and then make sure the timing's right, and we'll go from there. Well, there's not much to check over on this one because it's all new and just been built by MLMotorsport, but all the plug gaps are all good. So timing was 4 degrees to advance, so I've just knocked the timing back a little bit, and then we're on to the carburettor. and the carburetor is one of mine. So it's supplied with a red spring, which is obviously in this particular application is too weak, and a standard BDL needler. It's been used like this to run in, and it was nice and lean for running in, which is good. But now we need to drastically increase the fuel in so we can get the full potential of this engine, which is, you know, sort of mid 80s horsepower. So it's my RS camshaft and a fat head, in Andy Davis's own words. So we shall dial this in and unleash the grunt. So, red spring on the right, yellow spring on the left. Don't be confused thinking that one is stronger. It's not. This one is stronger, and it's actually double the rate at a specific height. So this one needs a yellow spring, so that's what's going in. So we got this one nicely dialed in. Carburetor wise, we ended up with a yellow spring BBA needle, which needed some extensive modifications at part throttle and at full power. So yeah, this one's ready for test drive. Okay, so last car, and this is a flame red. Again, another nice little road car. And this one's sporting a nice, there's a cooking little engine in this one. Nice road engine. So I do believe we've got quite a nice little 1275 based engine in that. So what we'll do is go and see the owner, see why he's bought it here, and find out what the engine is. Right, and this is Ben. So Ben owns this nice flame red. So why have you brought it down today, Ben?
So I rebuilt the engine about a year ago. Lots of parts from yourself on it, AC. So yeah, I do a good job on it.
I have noticed it's got my dizzy, it's got my rockers and stuff on it. So and a lot of my recommendations I can see. So yeah, no pressure on me. But carry on.
Sure is. Yeah. So rebuilt it. Been running it in lean. It's running like a bit of a pig now, and just time to get it set up properly for
okay. So for the sake of the viewers, you tell them what the engine spec is.
Yeah. So it's 1275 or bought out 1293 MG cam, single HIF 40 carb, light and flywheel. It's got.
So is that one of my flywheels?
Yep.
Right.
Yep,
So
one of your flywheels as well.
Yep. And it's also got my rockers on it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the 1.3 rockers on it. He did primary gear bushing for us as well.
And my dizzy.
And the dizzy, yeah.
So as I say, yeah. not much to not much to go wrong, but hopefully we'll get this lot singing, so you can really start to enjoy your fruits of your handiwork. So
yeah,
let's dig in.
Thank you.
So Ben's done a nice job. We've got everything, everything's nice and well put together under the bonnet. So the only things I've found wrong with it so far is coil-wise. He was running a 1.5 ohm coil, so we've changed that to 0.8. Now that was one of my recommendations many moons ago, but I changed that recommendation based on the fact I was having failures. So I changed that now to a 0.8. So it's a 0.8 ohm Viper to go with the 65D. That's one of my recurve dizzies on there. The timing itself that had been installed, it was about 12 degrees out, so I've advanced that to 12 degrees. Spark plugs all look good. This is one of those engines that's probably on the threshold between 6s and 7s on the plugs, so we left 6s in for now, and I've told Ben to just keep an eye on the plugs and do a little bit of plug reading after he's had it tuned, just to keep an eye on how well and how warm they're running. In terms of carburetor, that's the unknown, so that hasn't been replaced, but we're going to start tuning this now and see how we get on with it. Okay, so what we've now done is this car's fitted with its own lambda reading gauge that's plumbed into the manifold. So I'm tuning the car based on its lambda gauge. So I've put a BCF needle in now and a brand new spring. I haven't got, in this case, I've run out. I've used 4 springs on 8 cars, which is unheard of, and 2 of them had twin carbs on, so you can see that I've gone through 4 springs very quickly, which is unusual. So I don't actually have a yellow spring, which is what I think I'm going to need. So what I need Ben to do is to go out with this combination and tell me some readings on the gauge, so we can see if we're too rich or we're too lean, and then I know where we are. Okay, so we got this one dialed in. Massive modifications needed. So put a BCF needle in, but it was hugely lean at part throttle. So some big time modifications. we joked it was almost worth putting in the lathe and taking a heavy cut off the needle to get it rich enough. But seriously, we got it there, and we used the car's own wideband to get this one set up. Obviously, the customer's going to go out in it now, and we'll see what he thinks. Right, Ben. So you've been out in your little missile. What do you think?
Incredible. It's so just so different to what it was. So much smoother, so much torque on part throttle, like just accelerating a little bit, and you can really feel it pick up. It's so much fun to drive. I'm really going to look forward to this.
Excellent. So were you expecting that sort of mild spec to be so powerful?
Not at all, actually. I thought it would be a little bit more than what it had been, but it is a lot more powerful than I was expecting. Really pleased.
And were you quite surprised how far out of tune it was?
Yeah, I can't believe the amount of material you've taken off the needle to get that into where it is. But
yeah, to be fair, for anyone watching this, that was the most I've ever had to take off a needle to get that anywhere near right at part throttle. That was almost what I class as excessive. As I say, I was taking a joke earlier about putting it in the lathe and taking a heavy cut on the needle to get it somewhere near right. But yeah, my God, did it need it? Yeah,
it's incredible. It's absolute night and day.
So obviously you've got a wideband installed on the car. What's it like now when you drive it?
Yeah, so right in the sweet spot, so like 14, 15 on the cruise, putting the throttle down, picks up to 12, 8, something like that, and then and really goes and settles back out as you lift off. It's
excellent.
It's nice.
All right. Well, would you recommend this service to anyone else?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right then. Anyway, thanks for bringing it down today.
Cheers.
All right. Now Ben's been out for a bit of a test drive. I just thought I'd pull a plug out, and then you can see after a proper tune what the end looks like. Now I appreciate that's a fairly new plug, so it hasn't had a chance to build up the full colour, but you can see that's burning clean, and obviously the engine's running well, and that's exactly how you want your plugs after a tune. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's kind of quite a few cars there at ML Motorsport. Andy always makes sure I get plenty in when I come down, so thanks very much, Andy, for putting that weekend on. That's the last one until around March, when I start back on the road again now, because I stop for the winter. So if any of you needing a tune up now, I do remote tuning, so just a reminder that anywhere, if you've got a car anywhere in the world, I can do video tuning. And if anybody needs training to see if you're interested in your business getting feedback like I do, then please get in contact via Facebook Messenger. Anyway, as ever, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.